Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for our DIYs today. Make sure you do all the YouTubey things where you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And let's get on to this first DIY here. So this one I've seen all over the internet. I bought this stuff, so I decided I was going to make it and share it with you guys. So it's just a vase from the Dollar Tree and this mop head from the Dollar Tree. And I took the black plastic piece that is holding the mop head together, and I individually am going to glue them to the top of my vase here. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm doing it evenly so they hang evenly over both sides of the vase here. And we are making a mop head ghost. Mine ends up looking more like Cousin It, but either way, it's still cute. I've had several people send this to me and say, "Oh, you should make it. It's so cute." So here I am making this, and I love all things ghost in my Halloween decor. So I thought this was really cute, and I love the little light effect that it's going to have here in a minute. So I am just um, gluing each individual piece on. So this did take a while. So I went across one way and filled up the base, and then I went like in the opposite direction and filled up the base again. And then I went through and in the four corners of my rectangle that were left exposed, I also added mop head in there as well, and I did end up using the entire mop head. So you will just need one for this project. So I got a vase, the mop head, and some battery powered LED fairy lights. And so that is 3 items. So this project costs $3.75, which I think is a pretty good price for a light up ghost. And so I'm just going, putting each layer on here. And then this is my battery powered lights there. And I had purple in my stash, so that's the color that I'm using. And I just put my batteries in, put it in there, and then just kind of flipped it over. So it's not, the lights aren't secured in there. I wanted to be able to change out the batteries as needed. And then this was just a piece of black fabric that I had. Well, it's felt, but you could do black fabric, you could do felt, you can do construction paper, use whatever you have. I figured out where I wanted to put my little eyeballies, and then I just hot glued them to the top. I've seen other people make this and they added like a witch hat or a garland around the top to give it like a, a gypsy ghost or boho ghost or, whatever style that you want to go with. And I just went plain here. So I might mess with him later, but for video purposes, this is exactly how he stayed. And this is my Gus the Ghost. So I think he came out cute. Let me know what you think and if you're going to replicate this as well. That's it. He was super easy peasy. So we're going to do another canvas Dollar Tree DIY here today. So this is just going to need one canvas. Depends on how many of these that you want to make. I plan on making more, but for the video, I just showed you one. But I went online and I was looking up vintage Halloween. And in my Googling spiral that I did there, I came across a website that had free printables. And I love this moth. Like, I just love it. It's, it's supposed to be vintage Halloween, but obviously, like, if your decor is like mine, that you'd probably just leave it up all year long. So I just removed the canvas from the back of my frame here, and then I stained the inside with my antique wax, and then I painted the top side with just black chalkboard paint from the Dollar Tree. And now I'm just going to put some glue on the back here, and I'm just going to aim to get it straight over my moth. And that's it. This is the easiest project you will ever come across. Any free printable, the frame from the Dollar Tree, and you have yourself a really cool piece of wall art. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my little box cutter and I'm going to cut off the excess paper here. And then I decided I wanted to add the remainder of the canvas that I had taken off, because in prior projects, I've just kept it and saved it for other projects, which I've done before. But I wanted to add it back onto this picture frame here. So this is what you're going to see me do right now. So um, I am just, cut off the excess paper here. And now I'm going to take this canvas because it's sturdy. And this is, you got to remember, this is just a piece of paper behind a frame. And so I wanted to give it a little more stability in case, I went to pick it up and I stuck my finger through it, which I've done in the past. Or, if you're going to store it and things are on top of it. So this just gives it such a sturdier background and it deepens up the color. And then, of course, I couldn't just leave it alone. So I'm using my antique wax by Waverly as pretty much like watercolor. So I have excessively watered this down. And I am just brushing it over this bright white paper that we have on here in streaks, like making it look old. This is an old picture. It's seen the test of time. Um, you know, Vintage Halloween, nicotine stained walls, like that whole look. That's what I was going for. Like this has been in someone's house forever and ever. And so you just play with this, until you're happy with the way it looks. And when it's all done here, I just absolutely adore it. And so I wanted to do an excessive amount of water so it also wrinkle the paper. So once it dries, it actually like wrinkles the paper up. But because we use the canvas on the back of the frame, it's not messing with the integrity of the picture itself because we have that nice backing to hold it together here. So I just think this came out super cute. That was me probably getting lost in my show that was on at this particular time. And I just go on here and I can't wait to see if you guys are going to recreate something like this. So definitely let me know. So this is DIY number 3. This is the whole purpose of this video, but I didn't just want to have just this in the video. So this is a book from the Dollar Tree. I took off the sleeve, and this is hazelnut chalk paint from Waverly, and I am just going to coat this entire book. So this step isn't necessarily a necessity, but for me, knowing that teal blue color was underneath, it needed to go because if any of that for any reason would have poked through my project, it would ruin it. So this is also from the Dollar Tree. Just picked them up 2 days ago, so they are currently there. And I'm just going to pull out a snake. And he had more of like that rounded head, so I just took my scissors and clipped the corners to give him more of the pointy snake head look here. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue him to the front of this book here. So I am excited to announce for you guys that I am making my Hocus Pocus book. So I have made many of these. People have asked me to make them for their props for their Halloween parties, for their costumes. I've made quite a few, and I am almost positive I've never recorded myself actually doing it. Because I'm always doing it, in the middle of the night because somebody called me, 5 minutes before they needed it. Just kidding. It takes longer than 5 minutes to make this. But I know that people in the past have asked me to show it. So here it is. So that is just a paper towel. So it's just a section of paper towel. I put water all over it to kind of get it to sink into the paint. And then we're going to keep adding a mixture of Mod Podge and water here. And so you'll see in a second here where I flip the paper up because it wasn't quite sticking right. So suggestion, put the Mod Podge down first, put the paper down, and then continue forth with the way that I'm doing it here. And don't worry if you have wrinkles in it at all because that is the look that we want. Because you have to remember that the in the book, yes, is see, this is where I lift it up because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not sticking. So just going to throw some Mod Podge down and keep it moving. But book is made out of skin. So It's not smooth or perfect, and we want to try to give it as much texture and layers as we possibly can because, book is made out of stitched up skin. And so that's what I'm doing here. So the most time that this really took me was getting the paper towel to adhere to the snake properly so that you could still really see that the the silhouette of the snake underneath. And I've also done this using tissue paper, not tissue paper, toilet paper, both tissue paper and toilet paper. And I just split the plies. So normally I split the plies, but this time I decided not to because I wanted to have a thicker layer without, spending a lot of time, um, with the drying and all that stuff like that. Because this is for, I'm making this for the video purposes. But when I do for people, um, it has lots and lots of layers. I mean, it's really lifted up to give it that more realistic look. So now that my paper is dry, we're just hitting it with some hazelnut chalk paint here. You don't have to use chalk paint for this project. It is not necessary. Any acrylic paint that you have will work perfectly fine for this. And then this is just an eyeball from the Dollar Tree that I split in half. Well, kind of in half. It's a little wonky, but that's okay because in the movie, his little eyeball is not like perfection. So, you do you. If you want it to be perfect, make it perfect. If not, it doesn't matter because, again, this is stitched together people and it is, her best friend. So we're just going to give it a more realistic personality look here to our book. And then once I put the eye down, now I'm going over it with the Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm just really pouncing it into that paper towel there. Um, this, you don't have to use the Antique Wax. I just have it. Again, brown acrylic paint. Watered down brown acrylic paint would work just perfect for this. And I really am just giving it layer upon layer upon layer of color because I really, 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 really want to give it that aged look because this book is, I mean, gosh, when they made it 30 years ago, it was 300 years, and so we want this book to look old. So I'm taking some more toilet paper. Sorry, it could be toilet paper. It doesn't matter. Any paper product is going to work here. So I'm just taking my little paper towel here and kind of rolling it up, and I'm going to start to build up the area so it looks like a real eyeball. Now, when I've made this in the past for other people, I've really slimmed down that eyeball quite a bit so it's deeper, looks deeper inset into the book. But there's not as much more wiggle room with the tissue paper that we're going to go around with, the lower the eye is. So I wanted you to really see how I'm doing this here. So that way, when you go to recreate your own book, that you can do it from there. You can make it look more shallow. You could cut into the hardcover of the book so that the eye is inset deeper. You could do it any way that you want to do it, but this is just the basics. So I took the paper towel and I rolled it up, and it is slightly damp. So this is not a perfectly dry paper towel because I'm kind of using it like molding clay. So I guess if you had clay at home, that this might even be even easier. But I just wanted to show you that you can make this super awesome Hocus Pocus book out of all Dollar Tree products because they sell toilet paper, they sell paper towels, they sell this eyeball, they sell the book, they sell the snakes, they sell the paint, they sell Mod Podge. Like you could literally, there's not nothing that I use here that you can't get at the Dollar Tree except maybe at the end I use a silver paint marker, but I know in their stationery area they have Sharpies and they have silver. So this is 100% Dollar Tree DIY, and I just want you to know that you can make something super cool with this stuff. Super cheap, super cool, super cheap. You can make multiples of them. You could give them as to all your spooky little friends that love this kind of stuff. Anybody that you know that loves Hocus Pocus. So I just, push it down and Mod Podge it, push it down at Mod Podge it. I added the hazelnut to the paper itself, and then I'm just using my heat gun to dry it up so that I can keep pulling back the layers so we really get that inset, deep inset eye look. And then, so now I'm just painting the eyeball itself white because that eyeball, that's not at all what it looks like. It doesn't have the, I mean, in the movie it has the veins, but in all of the books that you see online, his eye color is brown, almost like the color of the book itself. So here I am using hazelnut as the iris. The iris, is that it? Yes, the iris of the eye. So I just put on the eyeball, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the antique wax just to kind of give it some more, again, depth and dimension. So back with the antique wax. Again, like I said, this is layer after layer after layer of color to get this look that I'm going for. Paper towels, work wonders in taking off sections of paint there without taking off too much. I wanted to do the edge of the book here because it's going to be visible. It's going to be visible. And so we want to make sure that we do the same technique to the spine of the book as we do to the top cover. You can do the back as well, like if you want to, but mine's just painted in the back. It's not textured or anything like that. So now that we're here, I put the little black dot in his eyeball there. You can see how really cool that the tissue paper looks all the way around. And now I'm just hitting it with some black to give, that shadowed look around the eyeball and inside the creases of the eye socket, the eye-ish area there. And so, yeah, you just do as little as much as you want. I mean, there's room for personal creation here. If you are, wanting to change anything that I do here. But again, we are, this is our version of Book from Hocus Pocus. So we want to try to stay as close to what he looks like as possible. And then I took my black paint and I hit all around the edges of the, where the pages, the hardcover. And I painted all that black, and now I'm going through with my antique wax and water, and I am painting the pages because, again, this book is a bazillion years old, and we want it to make it look old. So I covered up all that blue color with the black, and then I'm adding the brown to the white pages to give it that aged look. So now I'm going to go again with another layer of the hazelnut. So we did hazelnut, then we did the brown, then we did hazelnut, then we did brown, and then I'm hitting it with another layer of hazelnut. So you see it when I put the lighter color over the darker color, that's where the magic really pops in. That's where you can see all the texture, you could see all the wrinkles. And I'm just using it kind of like a highlighter, like if you were putting makeup on your face, like I'm just highlighting his face here. And then I will go back in with the antique wax and blend it out. So we're just like you'd put on your makeup, that's how we're doing it. Lots and lots and lots of blending. So now I'm going to use my glue gun, and I am making the silver part that goes around his eyeball. And so that is just like 2 or 3 layers of glue here. And so I go around once, I let it dry, I go around again, I let it dry, and if I need it again, I will, but I was actually really pleasantly happy with just 2 layers here. And then here is my silver paint pen, and I thought I was out of silver paint. You're going to see in a few minutes here that I found it, and I literally was scraping the bottom of my bottle here. But like I said, they have silver Sharpies that you can easily do this with. This little skinny pen wasn't working, so into the Garbaggio it went. And then, so because all the accents of around the eye, and then the two snakes that are going to be in the corner are silver. So that is my phone plopped in front of this book, and I am literally referencing what it looks like and just going from there. So I'm using my hot glue, and I'm going to make the snakes for the corner there. This doesn't need to be perfect. Again, as close as you can get it. And then we're going to let it dry on there before we add any color to it, or add some more glue to make it thicker, however you like it. The thin snakes, the thicker snakes. I've added, in the book, you could see like, like the around the eye almost looks hammered. I've done that where I've, messed with the glue after, I've done it and give it a more of a hammered look. But this is just, this you do as much or as little as you want. But this is so much fun, and I had a lot of fun making this for you guys. I end up making a few of these every year. Like I said, somebody always needs one for a party or for a prop for a costume or, whatever. I've made a much bigger, like actual, like, book size book, like big. Like when you're holding it, it's got some size to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit my snakes and put a layer of the silver on all over around the snakes, and then this is where you see them start to pop off of the page there, off of the book cover. The brand of paint pens that I'm using is Arteza. I really do love them. That's the kind I normally use, or Posca paint pens, either one. But you just use whatever you want, because I literally have used Sharpies. I've used, um, you know, super cheap, inexpensive paint pens. I've used them all. So it doesn't matter what you use to make this magic happen right here, as long as you get the silver on, because this is an important part of the book here. And then around the snake, or right now, we're going to make the stitches. So the front of book here is stitched. All the skin is stitched together, and that's what we're doing here. And so you just kind of lay your glue down and put the little design on however you like it. It doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Like the creative liberty, is yours right here. I just wanted it to look like patches of skin were sewn together to make this a super spooky book. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do the main lines of like the areas where the skin meets, and then we will go back over and add the stitches shortly here. And I try to add as many stitches as I possibly can, so that without it looking too crowded, for sure. So now that that is all dry, I am just going to hop across the dry glue with my new glue, and I am going to add the stitching to the book here. Now, I do have like a very thin, detailed glue gun, but I wanted to show you that it doesn't matter what kind of glue gun you have, that you can make this happen. So I'm just using my regular everyday glue gun and making the stitches here, and I just love the way that they come out. They look so good. And the detail, once we paint over them, they just look amazing. So I hope you guys are loving this as much as I am. I had so much fun making it, and definitely let me know down below if you are going to make your very own Hocus Pocus book. So now that we have all of our stitches on, I'm just going to go back and while it's drying, I was just messing with the eye a little bit more, and this is burnt umber. And so I wanted to have a little bit of a ring around the eyeball. And then I'm going to hit the stitches. So this is burnt umber on the stitches. Um, it's just an acrylic paint in the little bottle. And I'm just going to go around and hit all these stitches up so that so they lift themselves off of the book, like the book cover. So they look, they have that fresh, like, not fresh, but, sewn together look. That's what we're going for here. So we're just going to go we're just going to, oh my gosh, I could talk. Okay, guys, we're going to go all around the stitching here. And we're just pretty much highlighting all the stitching and on the glue here that we went. And it doesn't matter if you get some on the book, not a big deal. You can always just blend them right out with some more of the brown. And then we're going to go through and we're going to mess with the eye a little bit more. Fingertips, paper towels, however you got to do it to help blend it out. You do that, but I just giving the eye a little bit more dimension so that it doesn't look so, you know, painted on. I want it to not have the super painted on look. So I'm now going over a little bit with my antique wax and going a little bit over the burnt umber to bring that down a little bit. Like I said, this is many, many layers of color and layering. Yes, that's what I just said. Many layers of color and many to give it to the dimension. So around the snake is also like a strip of silver. So that's what we're doing here. And so I'll go down once, let it dry, then go over it again. And then I'm just going to paint this entire area silver. So this is when I was able to dig out my silver paint. And so I'm just going to use that here, and I'm going to cover this entire area, including my little snaky friend, with the silver paint, because this is part of the book here. And I just love how it makes the snake stick out even more, and it really highlights him. It really highlights the little snake that's underneath there. So getting in all those nooks and crannies are good. And then I'm going to go over my snakes now that I have my actual silver paint. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it made enough of a difference to me to want to do it. And just another layer. So when I even used my paint pens, I did a layer, I let it dry, I did a layer, I let it dry. So now this is black acrylic paint, and I'm just going right in and doing like the shading, the shadow effect in this, because it's not super bright silver, but it definitely is silver. But we want to add the shading and this is the contour part. We're contouring the snake is what we're doing here. And it just, again, because that bright silver color is underneath, it's really highlighting everything that's going on there. And then I'm going to add some black around the silver and really make that pop off the book cover here. And then don't worry, we're going to blend it out in just a second here. But I'm just going around all the silver edges and giving it some more depth and dimension. And then we're going to blend it out with some of the black, not black, some of the antique wax. That's the word I'm looking for. So now we're going to take the antique wax and we're just blending it out. And isn't it amazing? I mean, even if you stopped right here, it is so cool. It is really just a fun, I mean, can you imagine like showing this to one of your friends and being like, I made this. I made this. Check it out. They wouldn't believe you. They'd be like, there's no way. I'm sure you bought it off of Amazon. So now this is the finishing piece to our book here. And so we are going to highlight those stitches, staples, whatever you want to call them, with gold. So again, it's just a metallic gold acrylic paint. And we're just, again, you could see how once I hit the paint, once the paint hits the stitch, I mean, it just pops it right out of the book. So that's what all these different layers of painting are. And I think this came out so cute. I even hit up the little, like the little cut areas to give it a little bit more highlight. And I just absolutely love this book. I hope you guys love it. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below, that if you're going to recreate it. And then we're just going to add like the little, there is like spining on the side of the book. So I just went with hit it with my glue gun, let it dry, covered it with paint, and it's done. That's it. That's all she wrote. I want to say from start to finish, this probably took me about an hour to do. Maybe a little bit longer if you patiently wait for stuff to dry. But here it is in all its glory, and our other two projects that we did today. So make sure to do all the YouTube things, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think down below, and I will definitely see you guys again in the next one. Thank you for being here.